Hi, another Wednesday, quick Bible study with Pastor Mark from the Word of Life Fellowship Church here in Omaha, Nebraska. I hope that your day is going well. It's super cold here, not as bad as it has been, but still, it's bad. Nevertheless, jumping right into the Word, 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. I'll read from my Bible app on my phone. I'm reading from the New King James Version or translation. Therefore, I exhort first of all that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence. Paul, writing here to Timothy, is instructing Timothy in a number of things in this letter, 1 Timothy. When you have some time, read it. It's really great. It's instructive. You'll see kind of the behind the scenes from the apostle teaching and instructing the younger minister in the things he ought to do, how to behave himself, etc. But in this case, he's telling Timothy to teach the people that they ought to pray for those in leadership. Now, it's not going to take a rocket scientist to figure out that we just had an inauguration in our country, my country, where I live, in the United States, and our president was just basically sworn in and took the oath of office a couple of days ago. And so here we are. This is appropriate anytime you think about your leaders. Now, there are some who watch these Bible studies that are actually from other countries. And perhaps in your country, you may not have free elections. And I live in a country where the people vote for and elect our nation's leaders. In the history of the world, this is still kind of a new thing. When you look over the history of the world, for most of the Earth's history, people were ruled by men who came to positions of authority, typically by force, and later, by birthright, because their fathers took it by force. There are thousands of illustrations, references, ancient documents that lay this out. Somebody was king, somebody killed them, and became king in their place. Somebody was king, they died, and their son became king in their place, and killed all of his brothers, so that there's no one else who could have claim to the throne. This happened over and over and over and over again throughout the world's history. I don't think that it's good, right, bad, ugly. It's just the way it was. I live in a country where we elect our leaders. And whether you like them or not, or whether you supported them or not, we're instructed here, we're supposed to pray for them. I'm going to say it this way, not pray against them, but pray for them. I'm going to pause for a moment and let that sink in. Every time there's an election in my country, it doesn't matter if it's for mayor or city council or senators or governors or the president of the United States. There are people who were supporting them and people who were voting for the other person or someone else, or not voting at all in protest. pray for them. Why? Well, the Apostle Paul says it here in a way that I think is easy to understand. And he says we are to pray for those in leadership, in all kings, etc., in authority. And in verse 2 of chapter 2, 1 Timothy chapter 2, that first through the fourth verse, in verse 2, the last phrase says, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence. Now let's take a moment and think about why would Paul even be thinking about this? Well, Paul lived in the era of the Roman Empire. And as the church grew, the church was heavily persecuted in that empire. They were getting persecution from the Jews who were thinking they were apostates and perverting their Bible, saying that this Jesus was their Messiah. So they were angry at the church. And then the pagans, the idol worshippers, many of them didn't understand what in the world was going on. All they knew is that people were tearing down their idols at times or stopping their worship and no longer supporting them in their worship of these statues. They were angry. They thought, well, we got to kill these people. We got to get rid of them. And Paul says, pray for those in leadership, kings, all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life. Well, you could put a period there, but he didn't. In all godliness and reverence, referring to their faith, that we can live a quiet and peaceable life as believers, as people who worship God, in all godliness, in our lifestyle, in our walk with God, in reverence. That's why. Do you want to live in a country where the government has passed laws that will put you in a bad way if you're serving the Lord? No, you don't. Do you want to live in a place where you have to be in fear of someone turning you in and the law showing up and hauling you off to jail and confiscating all your possessions just because they can? And the only crime you've committed is you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ? You've committed no crime against society? No, you don't want to live in a place like that. So we are to pray for those in leadership. So I would say to you today, those of you listening, those of you watching, whether you voted for your leaders or you did not, pray for them, that God would lead them, direct them in leading in your nation, your society, in a way that will result in you having a great life, living your faith out without fear, in peace. Sounds pretty good to me. Well, God bless you today. I hope to see you this Sunday, those of you in the area, at 10:30 at the True by Hilton, the main conference room on the first floor, right behind now the Salty Dog and the Scooters. There's a new restaurant that's popped up between the hotel and 72nd Street. So if you take a right on Haskell on 72nd Street, just north of Interstate 80, you're going to see the True by Hilton behind there, and behind the Scooters, and behind the Salty Dog. And park in the parking lot, come on in. Main conference room on the first floor. Hope to see you there. God bless you today.